Are you a young stud hoping to increase your numbers in the gym and build a crazy physique so that the girls finally start to notice you and the bros finally start to show you the respect you deserve? Maybe you're a mom of 3 and you're losing faith that you can bounce back from that last pregnancy and regain both the body and the confidence that you had in your 20s. Could be that you're an avid runner who is abso-freaking-lutely in love with the sport itself and the runner's how you get from it. But you've realized that you need to add something more to your routine to increase your confidence in the way you look naked. Welcome to The Fence with your hosts, Mitch and Gar the Great. Follow him on IG, guys, at Gar the Great. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics to help give you a leg up to both first-time exercisers or those of you who may be looking to begin strength training. The topics we cover could help you improve your physique, complement your current exercise routine, or just get strong as let us help you get off the fence and into the body you deserve. What is strength training?
Lifting shit. To be Neanderthalically simple.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that choice of words. So yeah, strength training. What is it? You lifting shit?
Yeah.
To be Neanderthalically strong. I don't know if that's a word, but I like it. It sounds like a word, dude.
The first word I just made
I'll
up
use
and
it.
already forgot.
No, it sounds like it.
Anyways,
All right.
I need to write down.
Yeah. Well, strength training. Okay, it's any type of weight or resistance training.
Yeah. So building muscle, gaining strength, and there is a lot of other benefits to it.
And we're going to talk about them all, Gar. All of them. Okay, but the definition of strength training is the use of resistance.
This is the technical guy. I'm just hanging out here.
He's technical. He knows his stuff. He just didn't prep a whole outline for it, even though I did provide it for him.
Just got a poor vocabulary. That's it. And yeah, was lazy to
Here's
read
your
everything.
cheat sheet.
Oh yeah, shit.
So some of these questions I ask you, now you can just read it right off of the outline. Strength training is the use of resistance to achieve muscular contraction to build strength, anaerobic endurance, and the size of your muscles. Okay, so let's break all that down for the average Joe, right? Anybody that isn't a personal trainer or hasn't referenced their personal training handbook or Google and is super prepared. So let's talk about anaerobic versus aerobic. And I think aerobic is going to be a very familiar term to a lot of people out there. I grew up with my mom doing aerobic dance or exercise videos on the VCR. I don't know about you, but there were these ladies in pink tights and stuff. It was real popular back in the 90s and beyond, even further back. Yeah, aerobics. So anaerobic versus aerobic. So I think a lot of you can probably picture what aerobic is. What would aerobic mean to you, Gar?
I guess, can we count the marathon running aerobic?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's endurance. It's long distance running. That is aerobic. So aerobic, the definition of aerobic.
You are still romanticizing your freaking microphone.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You're like,
give it to me, baby. Good. Thank you for calling me out.
Shut it off.
Aerobic exercise involves continuous movement fueled by oxygen from the air you breathe. Makes sense. So that could be any kind of endurance cardio, long distance running, anything that is kind of a steady state. All right. And bicycling, exactly. A lot of things. Skiing would probably apply. Somewhere right in the middle there, because it's kind of high intensity, right down the mountain, and then depending on how big the mountain is. Now, anaerobic exercise involves short bursts of high intensity exercise. So instead of relying on the oxygen you're breathing, you're actually relying on the energy reserves within the body, your glycogen stores, if you will.
ATP,
adenosine triphosphate. Is that right? ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Aerobic. This is a good. I tell this to all my clients. Aerobic exercise. So any kind of cardio, right? Cardiovascular. So running, biking, whatever. You're going to burn the calories that you burn during that workout. Okay, so if you burn 250, 300 calories on the stair stepper or the treadmill or running around your block, boom. The calories that you are burning, that is it. You burn that 250 or 300, whatever it may be. The beauty about strength training or exercise versus aerobic or cardio is that you continue to burn calories from, you reap the rewards of that benefit, you reap the benefits of that exercise up to 48 to 72 hours after the fact. So it quite literally improves your metabolism, increases your metabolism.
100%.
And so a lot of times people make the mistake of thinking that cardio is the answer to weight loss or fat loss. And oftentimes you're probably doing more harm than good because you're actually eating away at that muscle instead of targeting that fat. Whereas strength training is definitely the way to go.
Here's the thing, I think cardio, the people that does cardio only, they just looking for weight loss. They don't understand what is a fat loss. You know what I'm saying? If you get technical with it.
And it's not to say that cardio isn't obviously extremely healthy for you.
Oh, yeah,
it is.
But it's good when it's does with something else. Let's say lifting, right? Good for your hormones. It activates your hormones. But best cardio, in my opinion, sprinting. Again, short bursts, your ATP stores pretty much, and glycogen.
Is that your go-to cardio guy? What's your second favorite?
I just do. So I'm a big fan of kettlebell swings. Big fan of kettlebell swings.
Me too.
I got maybe someone, if we are watched by trainers, maybe someone will remember the Dragon Door certifications. One when there were like freaking kettlebells became super popular, like a freaking CrossFit.
Yeah.
So one time kettlebells became super popular. Sadly, it just went away in a few years, but it's awesome. You actually, if someone gave me a choice, you can have this or that, only one, something to lift with, one type of equipment. I will definitely get a kettlebell.
Kettlebells are very versatile. It's a very functional style of training. Actually invented by the ancient Romans.
Damn, boy.
Yeah. I did a whole research project on this back on my NAC days. I made a video about it. But, it is a Russian, very, very Russian dominant sport. That's kind of how it's been introduced. Handles are thicker, so you're getting tons of grip strength. And it's very, I guess you could say, you're working in a lot of different planes of motion.
Yeah.
You can use it for power. You can use it for strength. People in the gym, a lot of times, I don't see people utilize kettlebells properly at all. I'll ask people if they use kettlebells, and they're like, oh, yeah, but they do, squats with them and RDLs. That's it.
You know what? Forget about squats and RDLs. Have you seen coaches teaching their clients how to do a kettlebell swings, and then you see absolutely zero power and mostly front raises with the shoulders?
Yeah. Believe it or not, you know what? I was lucky enough to learn a lot from a good friend of mine. He was a trainer on my team. He does his own thing, Scott. He's a kettlebell specialist. So he taught me on how to use the kettlebells. He also uses steel maces a lot, actually, too. Another really cool style of training. Yeah. The guy's a genius. But, so he taught me a lot of, the kettlebell work that you can do, and it kind of opened a lot for me. And I've mixed it into my workouts ever since. I love kettlebell training.
All right, bro. Now it's your turn. What's your favorite cardio?
Favorite cardio? Tough to say, man. I got a top 3 to 5 that I rotate. Depends on what kind of mood I'm in, and then I'll pick one and stick with it for several months or so.
Oh, wow.
I love jump rope. Jump rope, super high intensity. Gets your calves looking great. Works on hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
it's a
I
cool
don't
skill
have
to
any
learn.
of that.
I got to teach you some jump rope stuff. Me or Michaela could.
Oh, yeah, I actually need jump ropes because I've been doing boxing and I cannot jump rope to save my life.
So you're going to want a speed rope to work on the boxing stuff they'll probably have you doing, most likely. But so jump rope is up there. I do love sprinting. I love trying, improving my 1 mile run. I got just a little bit over 7 minutes is my best time ever. But as a 215, 220 pound guy who's lifting pretty heavy, I think that's decent. And I was happy with it. I don't need to get any lower than that. Really. What else? Kickboxing, haven't done that in a while, though. Those are my top 3.
All right. That's freaking good. But running, though, so Army's fastest time, at least when I was in service, 2 miles is 13 minutes. They give you 100%. So pretty much 6.5 minutes. So if you pull off miles, 6.5 minutes, pretty much on 100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're the fastest guy.
So is that their baseline? You have to achieve that to be there?
No. That's best.
That's their best time. Got it. Okay, I was going to say, that's crazy. That's a high bar, and I didn't think it was that high. That's okay.
And there's a one sad thing, though. It's like Army changed their tests, the physical tests. When I was there, it was just like, hey, good luck, bro. Do as many push-ups as you can, sit-ups, and run. After I left, they started incorporating deadlifts, farmers walks, and stuff. And guess what? Soldiers start crying that it was too hard. And now they pause it.
Really?
Oh, if I was in army, I would bang the heck out of people there.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because of that, you weak bastards.
Well, you know what? I heard a little bit about that. But then I also heard I could be wrong. You heard me, but I never fact checked this. But I read or heard from somebody that, especially referring to the deadlift, that the number required for at least men was like pitiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadness still. And people still cry about it. Can you imagine that?
Got to step your game up, Army.
Boy. We're still doing a better job than Air Force, but...
Or the Navy.
Chair Force. Yeah.
Chair Force?
Yeah. We hate you guys, but at the same time, we are jealous. Yeah.
It's pros and cons to all of it, I'm sure.
Listen, man, how you cannot be jealous when you leave in, let's say, like the tent for a half a year while guy on the same training, he's in the Air Force and he's staying in a hotel.
Sounds like they got it pretty good. Yeah. All right, so back on topic. We talked about strength training, what strength training means. We talked about anaerobic versus aerobic. So who is strength training good for? I have the answers right here, but just tell me exactly.
Actually, everyone.
Beautiful. Great answer. Give me some specific categories. Give me one.
Okay, you know what? All right. It's, I will go towards more like a 40 plus. Because after a certain age, when you pass 40 years old, you start losing bone mass and muscle mass.
This is a great example.
Yeah.
Ride with it.
And this will actually help you to slow down. Even actually move it 180 degrees because you just started training. You're actually going to start gaining bone and muscle. All right? Your bones will get stronger. Your muscle gets bigger and stronger. So you will slow down that aging. That's actually great. So this way, actually, I'm stealing money from a beauty business now.
Man, preach. After a certain age, it's different for men and women. And women, as they age, they're at a higher risk of osteoporosis.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's especially important for them, but also for men. At a certain age, you start losing, I think, a half pound of muscle per year. And so, if you're not doing load-bearing exercises, you're not only losing muscle, but your bone density. Yeah. So it's a great example, and that's one that I don't think a lot of people would guess. Obviously, this guy, it would benefit somebody like him, someone that wants to get super strong. Obviously, that's an obvious one.
Oh, of course.
Now, let's say someone's trying to lose weight or fat and or both. Would strength training be good for them?
Of course. Actually, let's forget about the weight, but move towards losing fat. Because, listen, man, when you start training, or lady, when you start training, here's the thing, you will start automatically growing muscle. Okay, your muscle will get bigger. But at the same time, you will start burning body fat because more muscle you have, while you're resting, more calories you're burning too. Mm-hmm. So awesome, right?
Just like we talked about, it quite literally improves your metabolism.
Yeah, yeah.
AKA burning calories at rest.
Pretty much. So I forgot what I was.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
No, but you were right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much, bigger the muscle, more calories you burn while you're resting. And again, stronger you are, you can do. Let's say, again, if you're older age, you can keep up with your grandchildren. If you are even if you had certain issues or incapabilities of doing certain things around the house, now you will be able to do it better. All right? Because that helps when you're stronger. And here is the thing. When you will lose that body fat, you're going to actually look way better than just trying to lose weight. Now you are more nice and tidy looking, So it absolutely different looks. Just doing cardio and losing weight and doing weightlifting and cardio, losing body fat. Absolutely.
All right, Gar. Sorry to cut you off. I got a question for you.
Please.
What if someone's trying to shred and lean out? Is strength training good for them?
Of course.
That's right.
Because you're shredding,
good for you guys,
bro.
too. You're telling me that strength training, okay, a.k.a. resistance training, a.k.a. working out with heavy weight, is good for senior citizens. You're telling me that it's good for overweight people. You're telling me that it's good for people that want to get big and strong in the gym. That was kind of obvious, but you're saying that, right? And for people that are trying to shred and lean out.
But then we get way too technical when you want to just shred because that's it takes a lot of steps.
Well, and we're going to talk about some of them. So we're going to talk about, different ways.
Problem.
different things that you can do to make it work better for you. But strength training, aka load-bearing exercise, resistance training, works for all of the above categories, including those women out there that want a snatched waist and a big booty and maybe some toned arms. That applies to you as well. So let's dive into a little more details on all of the above. What do you say, Gar?
All right.
Now, let's talk about a couple different ways. We have 4 that we can modify strength training to make it work for us.
So I actually like to work with the tempo. All right. So I have a certain base exercises. I will almost make you max it out. Not exactly go crazy, super crazy, but let's say 90%. And that will be super low reps, maybe a little bit higher
tempo?
amount.
Tell us, what's tempo?
Tempo, let's say there's a concentric movement. Let's say on a bench press, you're pressing it.
Okay, so that's an upward phase.
Yes. And then eccentric. And I like super slow eccentric. Sometimes I'm doing it
Downward phase.
4 seconds of that.
So tempo is time under tension.
And if someone has issues with their joints, right? Listen, you might be older age, you had a rough career construction, your joints are beat up.
So that could apply to the senior citizen or someone that's younger but played a lot of sports and might have some joint damage, or right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm 35 and my joints are messed up, my elbow, bone on bone. All right. So, and this helps a lot. Nice, slow tempo, high reps. And I don't care what people say, over 12 reps, it's, oh my God, you are burning muscle. Absolutely not. You can build muscle up to 30 reps. Surprise. But my favorite rep range is 10 to 20. You can keep it to the low weight. You can do it super slow tempo, and you will see difference very fast.
Beautiful. Love that. Great example. Let's go to a different category.
Or modify rest time between sets.
So who would that apply to? So like, let's say we had somebody who wanted to gain muscle and size. What would their rest time look like between a compound lift?
So let's say like that. If I'm doing with a high, like a low tempo, actually most of the time I just give them enough time for their heart to recover, but to slow down the beating pretty much. But I make them walk because you will recover faster that way, right? So that is why I actually don't have a set time, but there have been some studies that for 3 months, dudes were like resting for 3 minutes and other guys were doing 45-second minute. And 3 minutes had a better reaction to the muscle growth.
Yeah, so if you're, right. So if you're trying to put on a lot of, say your main goal is to bulk up. Okay, you want to get strong. Yeah. Usually what I recommend with clients, and it can differ depending on what your goal is or that specific lift, but generally you're going to want to rest probably anywhere from 230 plus to 3 minutes if you're in a low rep range with heavy weight, because you don't want to necessarily, your goal when you're strength training is not to look at your watch and see how many calories you burn. Your goal is to lift serious weight and make sure that you're resting in between sets. A lot of people think that you need to be out of breath the whole time you're working out. And most of the time, depending on what your goal is, that's actually going to do more harm than good.
And there's another thing too. Listen, you will, like some people right now, they're sitting going crazy and like, man, 3 minutes is a lot. Not really, because you will see plenty of guys doing supersets or compound sets. And at the end, let's say if you did, let's go simple, if you did your curls and if you did quality curls, it took you a minute. Quality tricep extension, it took you a minute. Then you, of course, monkey around a little bit. You took a rest. There you go. You got it 3 minutes almost.
Boom. Yeah. Okay, and that would apply to someone specifically who's trying to gain muscle, who's trying to lift heavy weights to build lots of muscle mass. That would be a good example. Okay, so that you can modify your rest time. You could also, a big one of the biggest, I think, actually, biggest way that you can change this strength training to fit your goal is what caloric intake you are hitting.
Oh, of course.
If you are looking to lean and shred, you're going to want to be on the lower side. If you're looking to gain weight, you're going to be needing to eat probably more than you comfortably can. Share your thoughts on that.
Oh, super easy. But here is the thing. We can mess with that about the comfortable part of eating. Let's say one of my tricks, right? A lot of people doesn't know that I actually learned from a good old Stan Efferding, big fan of his. Freaking love the dude because he looks great, even being almost 60 years old. And so he's a world's strongest pro bodybuilder. And he became that at 45 years old. All right, 2,300 pounds of total, around that. And he was still lean as hell. Yeah, like look at his pictures, he's mad. Yeah, so dextrose powder, that's one of the ways, one of my tricks, I would say, to increase the appetite. So you pretty much can grab it like salt, put it around the food. There is another thing I've been doing it when I wanted to gain weight. Actually, even losing weight, if you are keeping it in a set calorie amount. But for a gain weight, especially, it works better because dextrose increase the appetite, and just putting it on the food like a salt, that's the magic. And then second, so in the middle of the workout, sometimes, especially if you're training for a bodybuilding, that's why you will see a lot of bodybuilders, they drink carb shakes and stuff. So in my opinion, the best way to go, it depends on your weight. For me, it was 40 grams of dextrose and 20 grams of fructose, 100 milligrams of caffeine, and sodium, like a 200, 300 milligrams of sodium. Not too much water, though. Don't go too crazy with it. So sodium and caffeine actually increase the absorption of the carbohydrates. That could be for another episode too. But
Yeah, no, this is great.
Yeah, but that dextrose helps you to increase the appetite. That's one of the tricks, but there is a plenty of more. So that is why I was able to gain up to 200. I went up to my highest weight was 257 pounds.
What are you sitting at right now, Gar?
226. So imagine I was giant in comparison to what I weigh.
Probably have a whole nother closet for like that weight wardrobe, and then you have the what do you have right now? 225 wardrobe.
26. Yeah, it's like sheesh.
So that's great. So caloric intake, great way to modify strength training to work for you, whether whatever that goal may be. But that's a big one. And the dextrose, that was super helpful, Gar. The last thing to focus on that we're going to talk about today. So number 4, as far as ways that you can make strength training work for you, no matter what your goals are, because it does apply to everybody, would be progressive overload. Okay, so progressive overload is essentially picking a movement. Okay, one of your compound lifts. We'll use that as an example. And we're going to reference episode 1. We talked about DCOPS. That's our 5 compound lift acronym to help guide you on how you should build your workouts. So you take one of those and you master it with next to no weight. Week 2, tack on 5 pounds. Week 3, tack on another 5. And slowly but surely, you master that same movement pattern while adding weight. And that is what progressive overload is. And that is the key. And that is the only way that you're actually doing strength training. If you're sticking with the same weight for long periods of time, especially at the beginning of your exercise or strength training routine, you're doing something wrong. So you need to be pushing yourself to the limits with whatever rep range you're choosing, whether it be 3 or 5, or maybe it's 15 to start, right? And but if you're not pushing those limits and slowly and gradually, safely increasing those weights, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, you definitely need stimulus and some challenge. You just cannot. Comfort doesn't going to bring you anywhere.
Nope.
A little bit pain.
People think that when you start exercising, it gets easier. It does not get easier. The weight you're working with may get easier, and guess what? Soon as that happens, you better be increasing that weight. And then guess what? It's harder or just as hard as it was before. If it's ever getting easier in a gym, again, you're doing it wrong.
Oh yeah, that's true. If it's easy, that means you're chilling, man. Time to increase reps or weight. It doesn't have to be super meathead all the time. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go heavy.
Of course.
Take care of your body. You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? Don't forget about deloads too.
Of course.
So,
Yeah. And we'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah.
So master a movement, have patience, repeat over and over, and slowly add weight. And that is kind of what strength training is all about. All right. So we have 2 more topics that we're going to cover today. One of which being the golden rules. Okay. So something I always love to tell my clients, and I tell myself, internal dialogue, is trust the process. Don't get hung up on your progress. In the end, guys, it's all a mathematical equation. It's all a tried and true system. And if you buy into it and you are consistent, you work hard, you cannot help but see progress, the progress that you want and deserve. There's no way you can't. The only way you won't is if you do not buy into it long term and you start to get discouraged because of a lack of fast progress. So trust the process. Don't get hung up on your progress.
Or some people actually will see a fast start and they will slow down and they will think something is not working. Listen, everyone gets beginner gains, okay? Then we slow down, of course, but it's on you.
And if you want to hear a little bit more about that, we touched on that topic again in episode 1 about why it's important to have a why and about planning for regressions or relapses. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more again in the future. Golden rule number 2, consistency is king. Look, there's no way you're going to be 100% every day, but just show up. I mailed my workout in this morning. I really wasn't feeling it, but I put in a good 45 minutes. I got in, not that, again, strength training, don't focus on the calories, but I burned a good 300 calories. My body felt better after. I mailed it in today. It wasn't my finest moment, but consistency is king. Gotta show up. Gotta show up. And you're developing a reputation and a relationship, a reputation with yourself. And that's so pivotal. You have to have a reputation with yourself, right?
Yeah,
you need to be able to
where the
trust
confidence
yourself.
comes from.
The confidence comes from showing up on those bad days. And I promise you, if you show up on those bad days, it's going to be much easier to show up on the good days. Go, Gar.
Exactly. Keeping the word to yourself. That's the start. And this is part of it.
Well, think about it. Anytime somebody's ever wronged you, if somebody consistently kind of drops the ball, lets you down, flakes on you, or doesn't show up, slowly you lose faith in them. So just picture what that does to yourself when you consistently don't do what you say you're going to do. And it doesn't have to be the best job in the world, but again, just show up.
You will get better.
You will.
It's just a matter of time.
Matter of time. Golden rule number 3, you get what you put in. You got to want it. You can't fake it.
Yeah.
And if you don't want it, you got to be honest with yourself. Because then you're just going to be beating yourself up over something that you think you want, but you really don't. And that's okay. Maybe you just need to find that why.
Oh, yeah, that's 100% the reason for it. Because, listen, this is good for you. It's not like I'm your mom giving you a freaking broccoli.
I mean,
and
everybody
saying,
wants to live, right? Like,
yeah. But it's going to actually prolong your life.
Yeah.
But now someone going to say like, oh, man, but Winston Churchill was smoking cigar till he was 19 years old. I actually smoke cigars too. They train. So I'm going to be a good-looking 90-year-old. Do you want to live such a life? Like, it's pretty much you're going to live, like, you hit this 50, you're already in a lot of pain because of inactivity. I know people didn't move pound in their life other than grocery bags. And in their 40s, they already have a crazy back pain and all the issues. So from nothing, doing nothing pretty much, I would better have a freaking back pumps and pain from that, from lifting, but still be jumping around and be able to do sprints and all the crazy stuff. And if I have a grandchildren at 50s or 60s, still run with them.
That's right. Yeah. And that's another way to help find your why. If you can't find it within yourself, do it for your family. Do it for your loved ones.
Don't be selfish.
Final golden rule, guys. That's right. Don't be selfish. Repeat some variation of decops over and over, and you will see change. And then repeat. Repeat until the day you die.
Hardcore as fuck, but yeah. Metal. But yeah, that's what I do. Let's say, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Like I train with the West Side Barbell style of training. Every week, I have a different style of doing bench press. With the boards, with the chains, different style of bars, football bar. But my bench changes almost every week.
Honestly, the best personal trainers out there, or the best fitness influencers out there, are the ones, actually, they don't exist. Because only ones that are influencers, probably, okay, I can't say only one, but they probably got that way because they're showing some kind of fancy workout, some kind of fancy variation. Yeah. You will see them doing those cool ab workouts, doing those cool HIIT exercises where they mix 3 movements together. But in reality, exercise, following this system, which works, should be a little bit boring. It should be repetitive at least, and then you're going to mix it up in the variations like he was just describing, and there's a million of each of them. Not just to mix it up and keep it interesting, though that's a big part, but also to make sure you're getting a well-rounded variation of that movement. So that's going to help improve, things like mobility and just hitting that muscle group in different ways from different angles, using different loads. Okay, but it should be, very repetitive, very, very repetitive.
Yep. And I actually hate doing those benches with the chains and the resistance bands because guess what? I'm a knucklehead and I like to see a lot of plates on the bar.
Yeah,
but
it's humbling.
But hey, when you max out on the bar with the bar only and the weights, oh shit, then you lift way more.
Yep, that's right. That's another last thing on that. That's another really good reason to do different variations, whether it be increasing time under tension or tempo, or maybe increasing reps, depending on your reason for doing it. But it's going to help you break through plateaus.
Find weaker parts, what muscle are lacking, and attacking those.
There's no room for ego in the gym, guys.
Yep.
No room for it. You're just going to get hurt and then set yourself back. All right, guys. Lastly, talk about some resources for people, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so calorie tracking. There's a really good app out there. There's a couple. I'm going to give one, you give one. MyFitnessPal. It's free. I believe it's sponsored by Under Armour. Very easy to use. You're just going to put your body weight, your age, your gender, a couple things like that. You can also track your workouts through there, though it's not necessary. And then they're going to tell you basically around where your calories should be, whether you want to gain or lose weight. You can modify different settings on it, to slow down how fast you want to lose it or gain it. And you can even hop on there and edit your protein amount, which we're going to talk about in a second. Do you have a recommendation for a calorie tracking app or platform?
So, yeah, actually, I love them when I was on a regular diet. I cannot use them on a carnivore, but I would definitely recommend RP Diet app. Renaissance periodization, you have to pay, but it's not expensive. Absolutely. So it's like below $10 a month. And if you're getting like a yearly, it's it's less than $100 then comes up. So it's great. They actually meal time, give you times for a meal and those shakes, carb shakes and everything, protein shakes for the workout. It's more like athlete or person who trains based app.
That's great. Love it. Yeah. A little more on the more serious side.
Yeah.
Right. And also the really cool last thing on those, the really cool thing about these apps is they make it really easy to use. I believe you can scan barcodes on each one.
Yes.
Okay. So you can scan the barcode of the product or, the supplement or whatever it is. And they have everything in there, guys. I am telling you everything from fast food chains to grocery stores, specialty grocery stores to local restaurants. Everything is in there. To the 99th percentile, and if it's not, you just find something that's really close to it. You can edit your serving sizes and stuff in there, but they make it really easy to use, guys. All right, a couple more. Still on that, last thing on that calorie tracking, there's actually a cool formula, which they provided us through ACE. And I'm going to say it verbally, but then when I go back and edit this, I'm going to probably add it onto the screen for those of you visual learners like myself. So essentially what you can do is you take your body weight, and you're going to multiply it by 15. Okay, so I use mine as an example. 220 pounds times 15 is 3,300 calories. All right, and if I want to lose weight, I'm going to want to be somewhere probably 500 to 1,000 calories under that. And if I want to gain weight, depending how fast I want to gain it, and depending how active I am, I'm going to want to be the opposite way, 500 to 1,000 plus calories over that. Okay, so that's something you can just use if you're not tech savvy, you don't feel like downloading an app or paying for it, or taking the time every day, you can just do it that way. Now, let's talk about protein. Gar, how many grams of protein should somebody that is, really anybody, but especially those of us that may be doing regular strength training, do you know how many grams of protein we should be getting daily?
Listen, I believe, in my opinion, 0.8 grams per pound if you are gaining weight. Actually, if you're gaining weight.
Okay.
Because carbs are more important when you are gaining weight. But if you're losing weight, I will pump up the protein because it's more filling. You want to feel more full. Because, listen, man, when you lose weight, you're going to be starving sometimes here and there. And you want to minimize it as much as you can. So protein is one of the ways to do it.
Complex carbs and protein.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. We're going to provide you with a couple additional resources. I do have PDFs, which we'll link them somewhere. We don't have the website up and running yet, but there will be a website in the next couple of weeks, and all of the resources that we talk about will be listed there. In the meantime, I will include them in this video, and I will have a link somewhere on our social media platforms where you can access them. So we'll have a calorie ratio PDF with some recommendations. We'll have a rep limit PDF, as well as we will repost our DCOPS PDF that we use on episode 1. On that note, to stay up to date on all that we're up to and will be up to, give us a follow on IG at @thefence_podcast, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at @thefence.